The weather forecast with Coloca and its multipurpose banquet hall, Il Palazzo.
Bonsoir et bienvenue à ce nouveau bulletin météo. Between tonight and tomorrow morning, the weather will be calm in most parts of the country with a possibility of isolated rains on the southern border near Grand Batanga. We would have the lowest temperature in the far north and Adamawa regions at 15 degrees, the least in the east and west regions at 14 degrees, 20 in the south, 17 in the littoral, and the southwest region having the lowest temperature at 22 degrees. Next, we take you over to the north region where tonight we have no chance of precipitation in the region and the same experience by morning with Poli and Cholire having the least temperatures. Next, we take you to the center region where tonight we have a 0% chance of rainfall and same thing by morning with Yaoundé, Mfu and Nangai Boko having the least temperatures at 21 degrees. And the northwest region tonight has no possibility of rainfall and same thing by morning with Fundong having the least temperature at 13 degrees. I encourage you to make our time and go see what the Say Bamesing Pottery in Bamenda looks like. Thank you for watching and stay tuned.
Coming up tonight, members of the diplomatic corps and national dignitaries will tomorrow as from 10 a.m. present 2020 New Year wishes to President Paul Biya. Right ahead, we examine the significance of the ceremony. The Ministry of Transport examines ways of stopping Cameroonian roads from being death traps as 973 lives were lost in accidents in 2019. Out of Cameroon, tensions mount between the U.S. and Iran after Iran landed deadly missiles on American military installations to retaliate the killing of their general by the Trump administration. The details now. Thanks for watching the 7:30 news on CRTV. I am Moki Edwin Kinzeka in Yaoundé. We begin with this press release from the Presidency of the Republic. It reads, the President of the Republic, His Excellency Paul Biya, will be receiving the 2020 New Year wishes of members of the Diplomatic Corps and the national dignitaries on Tuesday, 9 January 2020 at Unity Palace. It is signed Samuel Vondo Ayolo, Minister, Director of the Civil Cabinet. And the presentation ceremony of New Year wishes is as follows. Diplomatic Corps, 10:45 to 11:25 a.m., arrival and installation of members of the Diplomatic Corps at Unity Palace, ambassadors, high commissioners, chargé d'affaires, and representatives of international organizations. 11:30 a.m., end of installation of members of the Diplomatic Corps. 12 noon, presentation of wishes of the Diplomatic Corps to His Excellency the President of the Republic. By 12:50, end of ceremony. Attire for men, tailcoat or dark suit or traditional ceremonial. Ladies, skirt suit, female or formal dress or traditional ceremonial. And the communique states that decorations should be worn and mobile phones are not allowed within the premises of Unity Palace. National dignitaries, 10:45 a.m. to 12:15, arrival and installation at Unity Palace of national dignitaries. 12:30, end of installation of national dignitaries. 1 p.m., presentation of wishes of national dignitaries to His Excellency the President of the Republic. 2:15 p.m., end of ceremony. Attire, civilians, men, dark suit or traditional ceremonial. Ladies, skirt suit, formal dress or traditional ceremonial. Constitutional Council, ceremonial outfit. Supreme Court, ceremonial outfit. Military, ceremonial outfit. And clergy, ceremonial outfit. Decorations should be worn and mobile phones are not allowed within the premises of Unity Palace. The presentation of New Year wishes to the head of state is not only a moment of communion, it is above all a moment to pay allegiance to the one who incarnates the nation. Ebenezer Kanga reports on the symbolism of the presentation of New Year wishes to the head of state.
The ceremony to present New Year wishes to the head of state by members of the National Constituted and Diplomatic Corps may seem like a ritual because it is performed every year around the same time. But beyond what looks like a mere ritual lies strong symbolism.
It is a kind of communion around the one who represents the state, who personalizes the state as per the Constitution. It is also a kind of republican tradition where all the dignitaries, all the constituted corps come to him as a sign of allegiance to him as the one who has the preeminence in the institution of the state.
The presentation of New Year wishes is therefore a great moment of communion and allegiance to the head of state. Best wishes by members of the diplomatic corps also carry with them strong symbolism.
By coming and recognizing President BIYA, wishing him Happy New Year, it means that it is a kind of communion between there as representative of the head of state and him as head of state of Cameroon.
The context for the presentation of New Year wishes to the head of state varies from one year to the other. 2020 has its own context.
There has been a great moment, which was the Grand National Dialogue. And this is the first ceremony after this Grand National Dialogue, where it is a kind of process of appeasement which has been launched since then. And I think the communion between the head of states and the dignitaries this year will have this dimension of contribute to the appeasement of the country.
The presentation of New Year wishes to the head of state is the first great moment of national life that Cameroonians will live in 2020.
Cameroon's elections management body ELECAM is updating the skills of its agency heads on electoral best practices ahead of the February 9 joint polls. The three-day seminar is chaired by the Director General of Elections, Eric Esuse. Luma Slim Davis was there.
The need to ensure that the municipal and parliamentary elections billed for February this year take place successfully in accordance with prescribed norms is preoccupying to government.
We think it is important to exchange experience in Central Africa, in Africa as well, and we know that the experts of ELECAM have a lot of experience at the national level, but also at the provincial level. So we think this experience is important to share. We have brought in experts from ECAS, from Africa Union, from the UN, from AISA. These experts are here with experience from other countries in Africa and in the world.
The 58 Elections Cameroon officials participating at the seminar will exchange knowledge and experiences, as well as methodologies of work, amongst others.
This is one way of learning from each other, learning from good experience from other countries, because we want these elections in Cameroon to be very successful. The stability of Cameroon is crucial for stability in Central Africa.
The seminar is largely expected to contribute to the success of the organization of the upcoming twin elections in Cameroon.
Internally displaced persons in Momo Division have begun benefiting from gifts offered them by the presidential couple, Paul and Chantal BIYA. The distribution exercise kicked off Tuesday, that was January 17, yesterday in Bangui, where beneficiaries expressed the desire to see an end to the more than 3 years of socio-political upheavals in the northwest and southwest regions. We have details with Sylvie Banta.
It was the turn of Momo, where internally displaced persons from the division came out in their numbers to receive goods of basic necessities offered to them by the presidential couple. The recipients of the presidential package have expressed delight at the gesture, which they described as relieving.
They're fine. They will be fine. We don't thank one for that why we don't see her. We thank Papa for beer. We don't thank one plenty. But this fighting the way.
Beyond their appreciation, the population have pleaded for more efforts to restore durable peace in the division.
The gesture is good, and you can even see that it's not even enough for the people. That is to mean that what we really want is that this issue should be solved. Because if the crisis comes to an end, the people will go on carrying on their normal activities, and nobody will be heaping this heavy load on the head of state.
The distribution of the presidential humanitarian assistance, which started Tuesday, January 7th in the headquarters Mbengui, will be extended to other divisions in the coming days.
A consignment of goods of basic necessity, medical and technical equipment worth some 1.6 billion CFA francs offered by the Chinese government will soon be dispatched to needy regions in Cameroon. It is China's own contribution to the Cameroon government's emergency humanitarian assistance plan for the northwest and southwest regions of the country. Alphonse Abongotanto watched the Minister of Territorial Administration visit the gifts in Douala and sent in this report.
Since the outbreak of unrest in Cameroon's northwest and southwest regions, the impact has been heavy on families but also on government. Territorial Administration Minister has been crisscrossing the country to dispatch humanitarian items within the framework of an emergency plan put in place by government. His presence in Douala falls within the same mission.
We have the ambulances, we have the vehicles, we have all the other technical equipment. So we brought medical doctors to come and see us. We have x-rays, we have other complicated equipment which will be used by medical doctors. So it was necessary for us to come and look at this equipment to see how we can dispatch this equipment to the needy population.
The items worth 1.6 billion CFA francs have been donated by the Chinese government for use by both victims of the crisis and defense forces in the discharge of their peacekeeping and security missions in both regions. The Territorial Administration Minister salutes the humanitarian contributions made by international partners of Cameroon and calls on them to work within the ambits of the law.
They cannot work efficiently if they don't have the support of the local administrative authorities. We need checks and balances. We must control and see what they are doing on the field. If they are leaving here to go to Bamenda, we should know that they are going to Bamenda. If they are going to Boya, we should know that they are going to Boya.
The materials are expected to be dispatched in the weeks ahead.
Labour and Social Security Minister Grégoire Owouna has reassured his staff in Boya that government will do all it takes for work to resume normally after a fire consumed parts of their building recently. We have details with Fem Bunyo-Ayise in Boya.
On the night of Sunday, breaking Monday, a fire broke out at the Fako Divisional Delegation of Labour and Social Security, burning down the conference hall and the archives room. Fortunately, the presence of security forces from the Limbe City Council helped to contain the spread of the fire. Immediately, officials of the Regional Delegation of Labour and Social Security for the Southwest reported to Hierarchy, who in turn did not hesitate to come down to the field to get first-hand information.
I came to encourage my collaborators, and we saw what happened. We cannot yet say how it happened. We are waiting for the commission d'enquête. We want them to know that government is following anything. The John Boutte government will make anything possible to put on the office already in next days.
It's worth mentioning that Minister Grégoire Owouna's visit had a consolatory effect on the staff as he reassured them that government will do all it takes for work to resume normally in the days ahead.
In Act 3 of our running series today, we dive into the world of life coaching. There are experts who say they help individuals with emotional troubles recognize their behavioral gaps and correct them. Beatrice Goom in the following report says life coaches is all about helping people rise above their weaknesses.
The world of the internet continues to bring its wonders to light. The latest being online managers whose names are a mystery, but through their posts, they have established their reputation and convinced internet users that they are coaches who make life successful.
Sometimes you see some girls, when they come out, every people are just looking at them because they work on it.
According to them, as life coaches, they do not tell you what to do, but show you what to do.
You can't come, okay, coach my life, no. You will come and say, I have a problem with this. I don't know how to say no, for example. I can coach you to how to say no.
It is a process by which a client exposes their feelings to an unknown therapist. The science is strange, but it has lured many.
Any woman, sometimes they are so beautiful, but they are not married. Because they have a character. Coaching somebody, you have to help him to attain the result. If not, you are not a good coach.
The coaches say they neither do mentoring nor tutoring, but as life coaches, they underline that they help people live their desired life in relationship, business, well-being, and even spiritually.
Just one person cannot have many skills in coaching, and you have to know exactly what is the problem to resolve, to have the solution.
Most coaches, however, regret that, be it in the audiovisual downloads, paid courses, or B2B coaching, the three-tiered content business is evolving in an industry with a complete lack of regulation in the complex digital era.
937 people perished in road accidents in Cameroon in 2019. The Minister of Transport, Jean-Ernest Masena Ngalebibehe, made the revelation today in an interview granted CRTV. Kilandandi Fund reports on the strategies put in place and the challenges reducing road accidents in the country.
About 10 years into the National Road Safety Campaign, accidents are still maiming Cameroonians on the highways. The causes are avoidable.
We need to improve on the quality of the roads, the type of drivers found on the roads. So you see driver's license found on any type of persons.
We have to make driver's licenses more secured because in Cameroon, a driver's license can be issued to someone who knows nothing about driving.
The Minister of Transport acknowledges, however, that the campaign is succeeding.
The number of deaths in our highways have moved from 1,588 in 2011 to 1,091 in 2015 and 937 in 2019. This represents a reduction rate of 31%. The balance sheet is largely positive, but one death from road accident is one too many.
In line with the UN exigencies on curbing road accidents by 50% in 2020, the ministry has a new strategy.
The strategy considers three factors that cause road accidents. There are the human factor, the roadworthiness of the vehicle, and the state of the road. Disrespect of speed limits has the highest rate of 35%. To redress these shortcomings, we have bought radars, electronic alcohol test material, among other instruments that are going to be deployed on the road axis.
These efforts are salutary, but the greatest challenge in Cameroon is mentality change.
The government of Cameroon has been struggling to address urban disorder by clearing the streets of roadside vendors, but the efforts are yielding mitigated results as the street sellers and vendors return as early as possible after they are chased. Yoti Kalelisonge props into the issue, which remains a challenge in 2020.
Exodus is unfortunately one of the causes of urban disorder in the country, where rails have become racks.
People come to town with rural reflexes. That is why it is difficult.
It is, however, not the only reason.
The administration should take a very firm stand, building the roads for people to move, because when you are slow in the traffic, the vendors come and they try to sell things to you. That means there must be areas where you have commercial activities.
After a census, we built 200 retail counters in the Mokolo market, but only 80 have been occupied. Some of the traders have even contributed, but would stay on the road. The monthly rent per counter is 1,500 CFA francs, and government has even made the first month free.
A solution which poses a bigger problem to some of the traders at the Yaoundé Central Post Office.
We cannot afford to pay for the stores. Besides, what's the guarantee that our customers will follow us? If we leave, we lose a market.
Experts say such worries can be addressed.
Il faut absolument
All the actors need to come to a consensus. In some cities, certain streets are reserved for pedestrians. For example, in Avenue Kennedy, a particular area could be reserved for street traders.
Others are willing, but just don't have the means.
If I have a capital, I will establish. I'm a professional business merchant.
This status quo, despite efforts that have been made over the years, still seem tough to break. But City Council authorities say they will not fold their arms and watch disorder reign.
There is a team in the field to ensure that roadside traders leave. That's why there are more hawkers and others use wheelbarrows. The task force is on duty from about 6 to 6:30 a.m. to 5:30 a.m. or 6 p.m.
In December 2019, government released a communique warning that street traders will be ousted, but they are still present, making 2020 an even challenging year for the Yaoundé City Council.
2020 is the year set by Cameroon to teach ICTs from primary schools, but only a few schools will have the privilege as there is a lack of ICT teachers, computers, and insufficient energy. Beatrice Losamba has been finding out and compiled this report.
Welcome to G.
Class 6 pupils of Government Bilingual Primary School Bastos Group 1 take their weekly keyboarding lessons.
ICT tools, I can research many things that I don't know.
The school's 500 pupils get a chance once every week to use the 6 computers allocated to the entire school.
The practical work is limited because the teachers are not quite conversant to ICT. They are not trained.
Limited computers, no trained ICT teachers. At Government Practicing School in Kondongo, the only other government school in Yaoundé to own computer for ICT class, ICT practical lessons are on hold.
We do more of theory. Teachers use pictures to teach as the multimedia center is out of use.
If all primary schools have adhered to the curriculum, which includes teaching computer as a subject, only 51 in 6 regions of the country have ICT equipment, according to reports. The road to introducing Cameroon's microkits to information and communication technologies has been paved with hurdles.
The main problem is the problem of energy. We have to get solar plants in the villages. Put aside what our budget is putting in place. We count on our partners. 2020 will be the main time when this process of generalization will resume.
The 2020 target to modernize education through the introduction of ICT lessons from primary level appears to be an urgent one for a country that dreams of speeding up its development through a digital economy.
Relations between the Ministry of the Public Service and CRTV have been described as excellent as the public broadcaster disseminates information to users nationwide. Minister Joseph Lay was speaking during a working session with CRTV officials led by its Director General Charles Ndongo. Emanuela Vemny reports that discussions centered on the upcoming national colloquium on the modernization of the public service that opens on January 13.
CRTV's management and that of the Ministry of Public Service and Administrative Reform on the same table, evaluating what binds them as public structures serving the needs of Cameroonians. Both have been working together all through 2019, with CRTV giving media visibility to all the activities of the ministry, from press conferences, daily news reports, to the production of news magazines. It is therefore time to appraise such cooperation.
It's a family meeting. As you know, CRTV, it's part of me. You have benefited from your services without any compensation. That's why it's important at a certain moment to sit down and evaluate the way you have been doing together. It's also important to see what you have to do.
The CRTV delegation at the working session is led by its Director General Charles Ndongo, who has saluted the quality of work done by his collaborators assigned to cover news events and educate the 260,000 civil servants under the Ministry of Public Service. Director General and his team have equally been briefed on the National Colloquium on the Modernization of Public Service in Cameroon. The event kicks off at the Yaoundé City Council on Monday, January 13, 2020.
The 23rd edition of the Presidential Guide magazine titled Boîte Rouge has been published. The 47-page magazine focuses on the importance of living together and multiculturalism as a vector for peace and development. Quinta Rita Edang read through the publication and put together this report.
One of the sectors in the military where living together is a reality is the Presidential Guard. This explains the choice of the theme of the 23rd edition of the unit's magazine, Boîte Rouge, which highlights the importance of living together and multiculturalism in Cameroon. In a soul-searching editorial, the commander of the prestigious corps, Colonel Beko Abondo Raymond Jean-Charles, revisits the head of state's message to the 36th batch of young officers graduating from EMIA, christened the Unity and Diversity batch. He exhorted them to consider the linguistic, cultural, and sociological diversity of the country as a precious tool for development, be it during holiday activities to inculcate the values of patriotism and unity in kids from the troubled Northwest and Southwest regions, or during cultural displays. Members of the Presidential Guard are ready to give peace a chance. The magazine also features colorful images of some important diplomatic events initiated by President Paul Biya, notably the extraordinary summit of the heads of state of CEMAC countries. The Organization of Interreligious Services also stands out as an important factor. Songs of victory and love for fatherland used during sporting activities are also part of the 47-page publication. The prestigious corps, headed by Colonel Beko, also has a program to reach out to the widows and children of their fallen colleagues, as well as other less privileged communities. As food in Cameroon is fast becoming a unifying factor, a variety of delicacies from across the national spectrum also feature. The quarterly publication does not only provide an opportunity to pay homage to fallen soldiers, but also to celebrate joyful moments.
Out of Cameroon, Iran has launched missile attacks against U.S. military installations in Iraq to retaliate the killing of their general in the same country by the Trump administration. Western governments have called on both sides to restrain from violence in a region already volatile. We have details with international affairs correspondent Charles Ebune.
January 3 this year, the commander of the Iranian Revolutionary Forces invited in Iraq by the country's government is killed at an Iraqi airport by an American-directed drone attack. Anger and consternation grips Tehran, who calls it an act of aggression. Days after about 2 million people attend the funeral of slain Qasem Soleimani. The Trump administration calls the killing preventing imminent attacks on Americans by Iran, followed by a rebuttal from Iranian leaders who pledged to revenge. At first, they announced a full return to uranium enrichment, and 5 days on, this. Two operated Iran missiles launched fall on American-led coalition forces military installations in Iraq with some damage. Capitals for the transatlantic community rattle, but the outcome of the New Year deadly exchanges between Washington and Tehran is yet to be known.
And back home, rectors and vice-chancellors of the 8 state universities have converged at the Ministry of Higher Education to discuss the second phase of the recruitment of some 500 university lecturers in state universities and to identify positions open for the digital recruitment of lecturers in the universities. This was during a meeting chaired by the Minister of Higher Education, Professor Jacques Famindongo. Alice May reports.
The meeting that brought together all rectors and vice-chancellors of the 8 state universities in Cameroon was to harmonize a recruitment procedure of 500 more lecturers in the universities.
We will recruit candidates who are very competent, who have experience, who are able to teach with excellency in our universities.
The procedure depends on some criteria.
The procedure starts by the department and establishment and the rectorate or the service of vice chancellors. It is very important because our mission is to implement a very competitive Cameroonian universities.
Statistics from the different universities were outlined by directors.
University of Maro had before that first first phase of recruitment, 455 lecturers, adding to 137. We have now 597 lecturers. The ratio is one lecturer for about 42 students.
There are equally other considerations.
For this special digital replacement on 2020, University of Marwa will, let's say, surely open 3, 4, or let's say 5 positions. And we do hope also that those positions will help those who are maybe above 45 years old.
After we know the quota for the University of Ngaoundéré, the numbers, then we'll now go in, we'll make a difference between those who had been recruited, and then we'll find out what is left. In certain disciplines, we did not have the right speciality. So this specialization, so this time you give us the possibility to catch up with those different specializations. Usually we have what they call a numeric replacement for those who had abandoned their job. It doesn't fall in line directly with this recruitment, but if not, those who had abandoned their post, the dead, there's always an authorization from the minister for us to recruit those. We call it numerical replacement.
This second phase of recruitment concerns 500 lecturers from all fields. They also discussed great changes. The minister urged them to strictly follow the recruitment procedures. This in line with one of the projects of the head of states to recruit 25,000 youths in the country.
Before we leave you, this press release from the President of the Republic, it reads, the President of the Republic, His Excellency Paul Biya, will be receiving the 2020 New Year wishes of members of the Diplomatic Corps and national dignitaries on Tuesday, 9 January 2020 at the Unity Palace. The ceremony starts at 10 o'clock tomorrow at the Unity Palace. The next news is coming up in 30 minutes from now. That is the French news with Adele Mbala. I am Moki Edwin Kinzaka in Yaoundé. Thanking you for watching.